r/ask Reddit. Redditors. What started off as a small lie but then snowballed into this is my life now. My freshman year of college, I was walking around campus when a very friendly looking girl waved at me. I'm awkward, so of course I waved back. The next week, the same thing. This began the weirdest saga of my life. For the next 2 years, we greeted each other as old friends every time we came across the other. She knew my name. Somehow, I never could figure hers out and it was way too late to ask. I just pretended I knew who she was and why she knew me. Finally, I joined the honors program and entered my classes for my thesis. Who should be in this class but mystery girl? I was horrified. I wouldn't be able to pass it off anymore. First day of class, we are all sitting there chatting and she greets me by name. Again, I had finally learned her name from attendance. Thank God. Someone asks, finally, oh, so do you two know each other? Where do you meet? Silence. I stare at her. She stares at me. Finally she breaks down wailing. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, we've just been waving at each other for 2 years and it was too late to ask. She's standing in my wedding next spring as one of my bridesmaids and very best friends. Edit. I'm a chick. She's not 100% sure how she learned my name. Hi Ty. Love you dude. Here is my theory. You guys were best friends, but someone went back in time and accidentally caused you guys to never meet. Fortunately, enough of the universe was able to bleed over so she remembered you and your name, but not why. You guys are so perfect as friends that this little bit was enough to fix the timeline, preventing an apocalypse, or something like that I'm sure. That sounds like something I'd get myself into. I'm glad you made a friend. Told a small lie to a girl I was texting that I love running. Dunno how it sold because I was fat. Started running the second after I sent that. 5 years later I went from 298 to 180. Not bad. You dumbus. You should have told her you were a billionaire. Just kidding. Good job on the running. But seriously, a billionaire would have been better. Told a small lie to a girl I was texting that I am a billionaire. Dunno how it sold because I was broke as duck. Started earning money the second after I sent that. 5 years later I went from a bank balance of $140 to $1. 8 billion. Not bad. Somebody thought I was Jewish and I didn't want to correct them because I hate confrontation. So now everyone in the school thinks I am Jewish and my homeroom got me a Passover card signed by everyone. My brain told me it was time to stop but I didn't want to ruin the thought of the gesture. Your senior yearbook quote should be I'm not really Jewish. Holy crap, op user and bot for this please. Edit. Holy crap, my most upvoted comment ever. Thanks Reddit. : I became friends with one of the managers at Panera. One day as I was giving a cashier my order, he told her to give me the same discount as they give to firemen, police and paramedics. I think he just chose this discount as it was an easy button to push on the register. Well, this cashier really thought I was a fireman. I'm not. So for the next 2 years this cashier gave me the discount. Even if she wasn't serving me, she would go out of her way to tell the cashier that was helping me. He's a fireman. Give him the discount. It snowballed into such an awkward situation that I didn't know how to get out of it. Luckily that cashier eventually transferred to another store and I now happily pay full price. One day you're going to be just walking down the street and there's going to be an apartment fire and this girl is going to run up to you. Oh, thank God you're here. Please save my baby. I can't. I'm not wearing my costume. I was dating a girl and I met her parents. I was a freshman in college seeking my physics degree. When I met her dad, he asked me why in the world I would go into physics when it is a difficult field to get work in. Thinking on the spot, I said, yeah, I've thought about that too and I've decided to switch to mechanical engineering. Well, I'll be getting my mech engineering degree this May. Edit. To answer some questions that have been coming up. Yes, I know what potatoes are. Reno, I broke up with her. Yes, I am very happy with my decision to switch to engineering. Props to you for following through on that. This could have gone south if he was seeking mech engineering and tried to impress her dad by saying arts major. I was homeless, sleeping under a bridge in Charlotte near the music factory. I needed a job so I dressed as best I could. which wasn't very well. Walked into a bar on 7th and lied about my work experience. They gave me the job. I started working that day. They paid me cash after every shift. I worked there for 3 years. Became the manager. And now I love cooking. Never cooked a day in my life up till that point. A lady, in her 50s, who was acting as the kitchen manager trained me. She knew I lied, but she also knew I was in trouble. I couldn't even cut a tomato. She saved my life. She didn't tell anyone and kept training me even though sometimes I'd piss her off, but I always tried to do better. I got an apartment a month into the job using another cook to call the apartment and let them know how much I get paid cause they wanted that for some reason. I was getting paid $11 under the table so nothing was on record, which is why he had to call. I worked as a line cook immediately. It was overwhelming. I'm not from the city and the work was fast paced. I would study on my time off by watching YouTube and cooking at home. Edited for more info, answers to frequently asked questions. He became homeless at the age of 19. Really? I kept bouncing around from couch to couch because I had a rough home life. I just wanted to get away from Ohio and moved to Charlotte when I was 20 trying to get a job as an audio engineer. It didn't pan out, but I didn't want to come back home so I stayed. I was homeless up until I was 22. The bar I worked at was a dive bar whose name cannot be mentioned. The ship sank a year or two ago, though I left there when I was 25. I do not live in Charlotte at the moment. He can't make too many recommendations for where to eat as I do not think that is fair for you. I haven't eaten at some of the places I normally would eat in that neighborhood and when I lived in the hood. Plaza Midwood. I only ate at home or anywhere that makes sushi. Lol. Thank you all for the absolutely lovely comments. So your life is Ratatouille without the rat? No, this is the rat from Ratatouille. My mother was a super control freak, so one of the ways I would avoid home was after school extracurriculars. I got the date wrong on a math team meeting, so I lied to my mom about it while actually attending the debate team intro meeting. I probably didn't need to lie, but it was always safer to not disrupt her precious schedule. Eventually, debate became a regular activity for me to avoid home. In 3 years, I was a state semifinalist, and in college, I coached the high school national champions and turned that into a free ride for a master's degree. Dang. When I lie I just get beat. Good job. I have one. A good friend of mine did not have an umbrella on a very rainy day. One of her co-workers offered her a lift home. One lift home turned into 2, then 3, until he was shuttling her to and from work every day for months. This co-worker is also a very good baker. He would make these lovely cakes and pastries and offer them to her, which she politely took every day. Then one afternoon, on her way home, he stops and picks up his parents. He happily introduces her as his girlfriend. She was shocked by this title, to say the least. They proceeded to invite her to a family gathering over the long weekend to meet everyone. His parents. They were so nice. She accepted because she didn't have the heart to embarrass the guy. She went to the gathering, met with other family members, and he kept introducing her as his girlfriend. She never worked up the nerve to correct or stop him. Long story short, they are now married. Edit. I did not expect this type of response for this story. I will address some of your questions. Yes, this is a very real story. The man is incredibly socially awkward. He liked his co-worker for a long time, so driving her home and baking cakes was his way of working up the nerve to talk to a pretty girl. She always thought he was sweet and kind, but since he was never forward with his feelings, she only saw him as a friend. I am outside of the US, so there is a culture difference for some readers. However, this is still a bizarre courtship story in my country. After the family gathering, they sat down and had a long talk about their feelings and expectations, and he finally asked her out on a proper date. They went on to date for 2 years and have been happily married for the past 5 years. Some of you called it a romance between two socially awkward people. Good observations. TL. Doctor, kidnap someone until they love you. I think the baked goods component is significant here. I moved to a new city when I was in 6th grade, and on the same day I started, 2 other boys started, and they both knew how to skateboard. So I lied and said I did too. Then for months I lied about being able to skateboard to them and other kids at the school. And I never came clean because I didn't want anyone to call me a poser. So I bought skater boy clothes. and a skateboard and learned how to skateboard because I lied about knowing how to skateboard. Still skating since then. I'm 27 now. I really want to learn how to longboard, but I'm 28 and have never skated in my life. Do you think it is a learnable skill at this point? Edit. Holy shit, these cost almost $300. Goddamn, I did not realize that. Edit 2. As people have pointed out, $300 is ridiculous for a first board. I'm going to start checking out CL to see if I can find a good starter. Here's to hoping I don't break something. Here, I'll teach you right now. Push toes down to turn. Push heels down to turn opposite way. If you run over a rock bigger than a BB, you'll crash. If you hit a crack wider than a banana, you'll die. Avoid those. Relax when coasting. Don't ride like you're surfing. To look cool, act like you're just standing or waiting in line and there just happens to be a board with wheels under you. Looking at your phone while riding helps this. When riding on a crowded sidewalk, yell passing left right and don't be scared to push people over when they turn around to look. They'll just know you're badass and shrug it off. Dismount is important. Sometimes I just jump off and let my board slam into whatever building I'm going into. You can also push the tail down to the ground and skid. Tape some flint on the bottom of the tail so sparks shoot out for extra flair. Edit. It has come to my attention that flint will not work for sparks. So try spray adhesive and gunpowder. An electrician came and priced up a job at our rental property. He greeted me with, "Hi Ian. I've come to price some work up." I replied, "Yep, that's me. My name is not Ian. It's not even close to Ian." I was too British to correct him with his error, so I just went along with it. It's not the worst lie I've ever come out with. In my head I'm thinking, at worst the guy is just going to call me Ian again when he leaves. He was in my flat for a good 20 minutes, calling me Ian during conversations we had. Not once did I correct him, just stayed in character as Ian. Weeks went by and he eventually came back to do the work at the flat. My missus and me had the day off. I had forgotten about the whole Ian thing until that day, so I explained to her that if she talked to me that day to call me Ian, it's just easier. Until you wrote him the check at the end and it was signed by Dave. Edit. Word. Rental property. We didn't pay for any of the work. Ian. This is one that doesn't bother me. I had a co-worker with memory issues or dementia and he called me Kevin once in a while. Not my name obviously. It made me laugh and one of my co-workers started calling me Kevin and telling new employees that's my name. This was 3 years ago and it is still going. At the same time I told my son, who thought it was hilarious, and somehow it morphed into me calling him Kevin. And my cat too. So I would yell downstairs, "Kevin, is Kevin down there?" My son told his best friend, and they started calling each other Kevin. Now when I see my son's friend I call him Kevin. For this story to come full circle, my son and said friend came to my office and I introduced them as my son Kevin and his friend Kevin. Also my sister now calls my son Kevin. Edit. Since this has a little traction I will add more. The co-worker who calls me Kevin calls my son Kev Dog and we call my son Kiwi when he starts acting like a tool. To make it sound like we are talking to a 9-year-old. He's 16. Edit 2. Oh shit. When I come in the morning I flip the same co-worker off and call him Kevin. There is a guy I hate who tried to get in on the Kevin craze and I shunned him. Edit 3. Haha. I keep remembering more. When we go out to a restaurant or Starbucks or whatever, I use Kevin as the name, and it makes us all laugh. Edit 4. OMG, I have more. I forgot about this post for a while, and I went to my Kindle to see if something downloaded. Yes, the Kindle is named Kevin on Amazon. Jesus. It's coming all back to me. I think I have a problem. My Wi-Fi, of course. Hey Kevin. When Kevin was picking up Kevin they backed over Kevin. That's cold, man. Like 0 degrees Kevin cold. Living in a college town. Every year around spring graduation there's 1 or 2 I'm here to see my kid graduate, but I haven't been able to locate them families. Usually kids that stopped going, pocketed their parents' money, and or just gave up and couldn't handle telling the family. It ends sadly sometimes. That's a big lie deception to deal with and maintain. It almost always comes to a head. Wait, the family just shows up without being notified by their kid? I'm from a small town and was super worried anxious about how college would go. After move-in day, everyone on our floor had to go around saying our major / what we wanted to do occupation wise. I was fourth to go. The first 3 people say, doctor, lawyer, surgeon. I'm convinced at this point that everyone in college was way smarter than me and had their shit together. You're on Reddit. You get it. Anyway, I blurt out economics as my major, then say professor because it was the best thing I thought you could do that. So now I'm in my second year of PhD program because I just never found a good reason to change from my raw meeting as a freshman. Edit. Yes, I found out later that like 80% of the incoming bio majors were pre-med because it's all talk. If you are 18, don't make the mistake I did. You should be worried about doing well in college. But the freshmen who look like they are way ahead of you are either A. lying because they're scared, to B. airheads who don't think picking majors are worth worrying about. Life is what you make it. Edit. Oh my gosh, I get it, homos naked, sheesh. Not me but my dad. We moved and he was convinced the postman's name was Jer, as in short for Jerry. He greeted him by it nearly every day for about 10 years. We even gave him a Christmas card which he displayed down in the sorting office. Fast forward and we have a temporary postman. My mum asking him after a few weeks, when is Jer coming back? This was met with stunned silence and a puzzled look. With a resounding who is Jer? No one works in the locality by that name, it turns out. His name is Declan and he was too nice to correct my dad for close to a decade. Oh god. That's not even close. Your dad lived a subplot from Parks and Rec. Back in high school, someone in my freshman English class thought he heard someone call me Louis, so he started calling me Louis. Not really a friend, just someone I spoke to on occasion. Now high school me thought he was just him trying to be funny, and didn't care to correct him, and he continued to call me Louis, and whenever I heard him call for me I responded. It wasn't until our last week of senior year that he stops me in his tracks and goes, someone told me your name isn't Louis. Is your name Louis? No. I've been calling you Louis for 4 years. I thought that was your name. Edit. I drop words all the time. That's like how a friend in high school gave me the nickname Paco because he thought I was Mexican. I didn't really care, so I had like 6 or 7 kids calling me Paco all the time. He comes over to my house in senior year and for once my parents are home. He meets them and just goes, wait, you're not Mexican? Nah, why didn't you say something? You have a Mexican nickname because I thought you were Mexican. I just didn't care. I still talk to one of my friends from that group occasionally. He still calls me Paco. Honestly, I've grown to like the name, LOL. Are you in Florida? We used to call someone Paco in high school and I honestly can't remember who it was. Holy crap. Ha 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 ha. The I've come as ducking gold. Once my boyfriend's mom asked me if I liked their bathroom soap. It's lavender. I don't like lavender, but I decided to tell her I love it. It smells so good. Now I have an endless supply. She buys me some all the time. It's too sweet to tell her the truth, so I just keep it to myself and use the mediocre smelling soap. Oh well, this is how I live now. Edit. I will ask for different soap. I've been given plenty of encouragement. Thank you. Edit 2. I will really send you lavender stuff I have if you pay for shipping. PM me. Serious inquiries only. You know that beautiful soap you always get me? Recently it's been giving me little hives on my hands. I'm not sure I should use it anymore. Such a shame, it's so pretty. But I also like vanilla, so maybe the same company sells a different scent? Mum goes out and buys other brand lavender scented soap. When I was 14 years old I played with a group of other kids on stage during the 2008 Hawaii International Ukulele Festival. Jack Johnson was performing and we were behind him strumming along. Hundreds of us. This story has turned so thoroughly into I played on stage side by side with him, just the two of us, that I can't correct people anymore and just shamefully accept the U's and R's when it gets retold. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.